So now that we're in Photopea and we have our general document set up, it's good to get a lay of the land and understand the different tools and resources that are available to you. One of the things that you'll notice is whenever you build a file, and it's only 50 pixels by 50 pixels, it's going to be really tiny in the center of your screen. What we want to do is zoom in, and we can do that using a variety of ways. For each function that we're going to use in this program, there are keyboard shortcuts, and there are also tools located in different areas. I want to give you a quick overview of how to zoom into this, how to select colors, and how to start making and leaving your mark on this, along with how to undo and redo certain things. So the first thing we want to do is we want to zoom in. We can't really see what we're working on at this size. You will notice that you have two toolbars. You have the File toolbar up here at the top with things like File, Edit, Image, Layer, Select. You'll come to use that quite a bit in here. And then you'll have your general tools here on the side with the selection arrows at the top, the color swatches at the bottom. Near the bottom, you will see a magnifying glass. This is a zoom tool, so you are more than welcome to click on this, and you will notice that as you hover over the image, a plus or minus sign will be displayed. In this case, it is a plus, and I can click and zoom in down to each individual square. If I want to zoom out, I come up here under the Edit and Image next to the selected magnifying glass, and I can toggle between in and out. This will allow me to go forward and backward. You can also use on a trackpad your thumb and index finger. By hovering over and spreading those apart, making them wider, you can zoom in. And then by squeezing them together, you can make it smaller. You will also notice that there is a view bar up here. You can click zoom in or zoom out on this. You'll also notice that there are keyboard shortcuts. On a Mac, it is Command plus to zoom in, Command minus to zoom out. For you, it will be Control if you're working on a Chromebook, and it'll give you a shortcut there. So you can experiment with those to zoom in or zoom out. I typically like to start where I can see my whole canvas surface here with all the pixels, but if you know you want to start in the center, feel free to zoom in and make a mark. So you now know how to move in and out on your canvas. Next thing I want to talk about is how to make a mark, and then we will talk about how to undo and select and change colors. So we have various tools over here, from selection tools to the rectangle selection, magic wand. This will show up more as a crop tool for you. We'll get to why we would want to use the eyedropper soon. And then as we go down, you are going to find the brush and pencil tool. Typically, you'll see it as a brush icon whenever you enter into the program. The brush icon will simply work as a brush, and you can notice that it filters out along some of the edges, that it doesn't stay just one color. It kind of feathers out just like a brush would. Now, this can be helpful in certain situations if you're working on a larger scale or doing digital painting. But for this exercise, we really want to focus on those crisp edges to create a refined pixel art. So I'm going to challenge you to use what we call is the pencil tool. But before we do, I have this mark, and I don't want it to be on there. So what can I do to undo that? Well, you have a couple options. You can always go to Edit and step backward, and it'll take you back one step at a time. If you go too far, you can also step forward. There's also a keyboard shortcut, Command or Control Z depending on your device, or will take you backward, and Shift Command Z or Control Z will take you forward. So let's say I don't want this anymore, I'll Command Z and I will be able to step back and have a blank page. That's one of the lovely things that people like about digital art, is the ability to do and undo things very quickly rather than using an eraser or painting over an entire surface. So back to the pencil tool, we're going to make a mark. Whenever you start, it could be various sizes. It can be anywhere up to multiple pixels, where if I do something like that, it's 889 pixels. You can see that's obviously going to cover my whole 50 by 50 square. So I'm going to undo that. Typically, I like to start out with just 1 pixel if I'm working on an area, and this allows me to go in and draw my shapes. Let's say I want to do just a face here. So I can start drawing out my face and changing it up. So just 1 pixel by 1 pixel can help. You can always adjust the size of this as well as you want. Maybe that ear is a little too big. So we have the pencil tool in here. Again, you can experiment with some other options. That's going to depend on what you're trying to create in your taste, but the smaller the pixels, the more refined your drawing can be. So you know how to make a mark. Now, right now we're only using the stock colors. How can we change the colors? Now you'll notice down here that there are two colors overlapped. The black is over top of the white. That's telling us that's the color selected. You can switch these out, and with the pencil tool you can actually go back in and paint white over certain areas. Again, can undo that if you don't want that. You can also select colors from the swatches here in the upper right. So I could change that to blue. And the switch feature is really nice because you can be working with two different colors at the same time. So I could do a little bit with pink, and then I can come over here and I can switch it, and I can do a little bit with blue, and I can alter those out. Now, let's say I want to fill in an area. One of the things I can do is come down to the gradient tool here, and I can click the paint bucket tool. And anywhere that is a filled in shape, it will fill that in. Same with the background too. Sometimes if you have a loose pixel though, it might not work the way that you want it. We can do this in large areas. So let's say I want to completely change the color of this to green. I can come over, select the green. I see it selected on top. I can click it. Let's say I want to bring it back to pink, and I have switched these and altered it. How do I get that color back? Sometimes it'll hang out in your swatches, but there's an actual tool that you can use. And that tool is the eyedropper tool. And it is located here in the crop feature. So if you click on that and come down to the eyedropper, you can select this. I can click over the pixel that I want. You'll notice that it highlights that color. It gives you two options to select whenever you do it. Puts it around the ring, and it is back. And I can go back in with the bucket tool. I can paint that again. I can also come back and use my pencil tool and change some of the outlines of things, or use the bucket tool to try to alter some of the outlines. So that gives us some adjustability. If you want a more specific color and you're not happy with the colors in the swatches, just click on the color selection down here in the lower left, and it will come up with a full spectrum of colors. So let's say I want a light orange. I can drag over and find the color, and it'll show me the one that I'm working on versus the one that I have. So I can compare. And once I've got what I want, I can click OK. And then you can use this in any way that you want to fill in areas and touch it up. If you ever want to use the erase tool and don't just want to use white, you can come over to the side and explore your different tools until you find the one that shows what you need. So most of our drawing tools are going to be in the same space as the brush and pencil tools, so you can grab an eraser. Again, this is massive, so it's going to erase a large area. You'll notice that it gives us the small area there. Again, Command-Z can undo. If you ever want to get back to black and white, you just click on the locations there and explore. So this is really a chance to explore, to get familiar with Photopea. We'll be using this for some digital collage. If you have questions about the program, feel free to Google, or you can click the search bar up here and look for things like the erase tool, and it will take you to that as well. So have fun exploring and creating your pixel image or GIF. If you're interested in learning more how to turn these images into GIFs, look at the next video and I will outline how to do that.